Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hot Conversations. As you come in, if you would speak to me, I would appreciate it. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Who's watching? If you would come in and speak. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Hot Conversations. Hi, Dad. Hi, Nate. I did it. I did it all by myself. Look at me. Look at me. Hi, everyone. As you come in, if you would speak to me, I would appreciate it. If you can, if you would share the live for me tonight, tell somebody that we're on, and we're going to talk a little bit, and then we're going to jump right off of here. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our conversations. We'll get started in a few minutes. If you can, share the live, tell somebody that we're on. I'll show you how to do the music too. Thanks. I got music going on in the background. I guess you can't hear it. I don't own the rights to any music being played tonight, just in case you hear anything in the background. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, we're going to get started. I hear it. Oh, no, I do not own the rights to the music being played today. Alexa, shut off. I want no problems, no issues, no nothing. How about that? Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started in a minute. If you would come in and share the live, share, like, comment. It is Monday night, Hot Conversations with Jeauninè. All right, I'm not going to wait to get started. I was waiting for some people to come on, but I won't. As you come in, please speak to me. Welcome to Hot Conversations with Jeauninè. I am she. And Hot Conversations, our mission is to embrace, to educate, to enlighten, to empower men and women, give different perspective, resources, and tools to be the best versions of ourselves that we can. And so tonight I want to talk about, for all of those who will come back and watch the replay, if you would let me know that you've watched it, I would appreciate it. So, okay, just want to make sure my volume is up. All right, so let's talk. I was having a conversation today, actually the last few days, about a friend transitioning from one job to the next job. And so tonight I want to talk about not limiting ourselves. One, not limiting ourselves based on the opinions of someone else. So I was having a conversation, and I hope that it can help you in some kind of way as well. And I have a lot to say, but I'm going to try to stick to the subject tonight and not waver based on other things being said or other avenues I can go down. Anyway, so we were having a conversation. They are currently looking for a job. And the job situation is a little rushed, where she didn't have a whole lot of time to critique her resume the way she may have really wanted to or needed to critique it. And so she had applied for some jobs, and we had a conversation today. And we were actually looking at different positions and talking about different companies that we know of, especially in the field that she works in. And during the conversation, again, we were looking at positions and what their required qualifications are, what their preferred qualifications are. And we just started having a conversation about the position that she is currently in versus the positions that she may be looking to get. What was interesting about this, and those of you who follow me on Facebook will see that I checked in yesterday to my home church, Hope Christian Center in Newnan, Georgia. And there is a live, it's under Hope Christian Center, the real HCC, and you could go there at your leisure and watch the service from yesterday. Our bishop preached a message entitled, God Qualifies Who He Calls. And he came out of the book of Romans in the 8th chapter. What was so defining and definitely set as a confirmation was that prior to the service yesterday, I had a conversation with the same young lady who is, again, preparing to change jobs. And I said to her last week, prior to the message on Sunday, and I said to her last week, do not, under any circumstances, limit yourself. And what I meant by that is because this job search is happening very fast, don't limit yourself to just what you know, right? Don't limit yourself to just the title that you were given. Make sure that you go through all of your qualifications. Make sure you go through everything that you currently do. Put that on your resume. And we were talking and she was like, oh, Jeauninè, I have to now critique my resume because, I just put, what very broad statements of what I do. Now, I know that resumes shouldn't be, hey, Dad, resumes shouldn't be very long where you have a lot of stuff to read because most times HR is not going to read through all of that. Also, it's very common and a recommendation that the job that you're looking for, that you make sure that you put some of those buzzwords in there, especially if you have experience in doing this. And so in talking to her, I was like, you're cutting yourself short. And the purpose of me saying, don't limit yourself, meaning don't just put the surface stuff that you do. Don't just put, what's common that comes along with the title per se. Make sure that you are very detailed in what you're saying and what you're saying that you do. Oftentimes, people are going for a position and they will focus more on the title of the position, not necessarily the work that comes with the position. And so I told her, no, you have to give all that you do, right? Because you may think that it's surface, or you may think that it may not be a big deal. This particular job or those reading the resume may be looking for those specific qualifications, but if you do not put them there, they won't know. So all in all, I want to say to everyone tonight, don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to what you've done 2 years ago, because this is my thing. My thing to her was, you've been in this position for 2.5, almost 3 years. You've had to learn more skills since then. And what it was becoming was, let me copy everything on the position description. Now, I believe that it's important to add what you've done in those position descriptions, but I think that is also necessary as we're hired on specific jobs. They always have a bullet for other duties as assigned. And so if I have other duties as assigned that's not necessarily listed in my what I actually do, my position description, then I need to add that, right? So these people know that, yes, I started out doing this specific stuff, but I am now here, right? I have more qualities. My skill set has grown. My understanding of meetings and understanding of coordinating meetings and my understanding of having conversation and engaging with certain people, whether it be those internal of the job or whether it's those external out the job, right? You've done all of that. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Pastor Burrows. How are you? Welcome in. Thanks for jumping on with us. Hi, AJ. Hi, AJ. I'm sorry. I'm looking in two different ways. So those additional things, those other duties as assigned were something that you've done, right? And so my thing to her was, you need to put it all down there. Now, for me, it's, you may have known me 2 years ago and I might have been at a certain level in a specific job. But from then till now, there has to be more that you've learned. There has to be more responsibility that has been put on you. And there's more that you should know by now after 2.5 years that is necessary to add to your skill set. We limit ourselves by downing ourselves down or being comfortable where somebody else put us. That was good. We down ourselves down sometimes, or they say dumb yourselves down sometimes based on the opinions of others, or we keep ourselves in a place because it's comfortable to us. And so if we stay in our comfortability, yes, I'm in a place, right? She's in this position and you're gaining more knowledge and more understanding and you have more wisdom and more skill set. But do I stay here? Do I stay here? And a lot of times we become comfortable to where we are. Why? Because change is uncomfortable for everyone. It may be not as uncomfortable for you that it is for me, but change is uncomfortable, especially when that change is us. Oh my. Especially when the change is us, or the change has to come from us. We get comfortable in certain places, in certain situations, in certain locations based on, I know how this operates. Hi, Sam. I know how to do this. I'm very good at this. I'm going to stay here. Meanwhile, you have capped your skills, right? Because, if they hire you to be a cashier, hypothetically, and you're doing all that comes with being a cashier, where do we go from here? Do we just stay a cashier? Is that the goal or the aspiration, that we just stay at this level of comfortability? Because if that's the case, then we're not growing, right? We have to grow. And in growing, that means whatever I'm doing now won't be my end. And that goes for the goals that we set for ourselves, things that we want to do. This week alone, I've had conversation with people about how they want to change things and they want things to be a little different and they want things to be a little better. My question is, what are you doing to change your circumstance? Because complaining about your circumstances every day does what? Frustrates you, stresses you out. Then it may cause agony or aggravation to those around you, because the only thing you're doing is complaining about the same thing over and over again. My question is, what are you doing about the place that you are currently in, right? If God has qualified those that he has called, and you are sure, number one, that he's called you, right? Because those that he called, he equips. And that's not just necessarily in the spiritual realm, but as far as I'm concerned, wherever I go, his favor will follow me. But we want God's favor. We want his blessings. We want a miracle, but we don't want to do anything to gain that miracle, to gain that understanding, to gain that new job. We just want to stay in place. And unfortunately, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. The scripture talks about faith without works is dead. And I will probably say that on every live that I do. Faith without works is dead. Meaning I can believe God all day for that miracle. But what have you done to get the miracle? That's one. Two, have you thought about when the miracle arrives? And I'm not sure why I'm going here, but have you considered that when the miracle arrives, right? The miracle that you're speaking about, or that job that you want, or that location you may want to be in, when you speak that, when you say that, my question is then, what are you going to do to maintain what he's giving you? That's why we have to be careful of what we go for and what we ask for. Because we have to ensure, or we need to ensure, that whatever place we're in, we're able to successfully fulfill that position. That was good. No matter where you are in your life, you should make sure that whatever position you're in or position you are trying to get, whether that be spiritual, natural, career-wise, relationship-wise, you have to make sure that you are able to maintain the miracle. That's why it's important for people to evaluate where they are. And when you evaluate where you are, your prayer needs to be thanking God for where I am, right? And when in my prayer, as I'm asking for increase, I need to be at a position not only to receive the increase, but to maintain the increase. We want it, right, for this minute. We want it for this second, but what are you going to do to maintain it? Or if you want something different from what you have now, what have you done to go get it? Y'all could talk to me tonight. Y'all could talk to me tonight. Hi, Sam. I'm having a hot flash. I have to excuse me. Honey, menopause ain't go away. Make a demand on your potential to help fulfill your purpose. Come on, Dad. Make a demand on your potential to help you fulfill your purpose. We have to get out of the that's all I can do. That's all I know. That's all I'm worth. That's all I deserve. Stop. We are stagnant because we choose to be stagnant. We're in positions that is just comfortable for us, but they're really not tailor-made for us. We accept things from people just to say that we got it, instead of making sure it's going to benefit my life in some kind of way. That's not just in the spiritual world, but also in the natural. I'm not going to a job that I don't like. Like what? Why? And we settle for that just because we need a job. And even if you have to get a job in the moment, you don't stay there. You choose your path. Life is about choices and chances, which means you need to evaluate where I am right now and where I want to go, right? Where my destiny is going to lead me. The problem is everybody says that they have a destiny, but they have no vision to get to the destiny. Vision for your destiny is imperative. If not, you will be in a standstill place forever. And so my conversation to her was, do not limit yourself based on the title that you have, because a lot of people are sitting in titles that they have outgrown. We're sitting in titles or positions, or we have titles, and we're sitting in positions that we have outgrown. And because it's familiar to us, because it's comfortable right now, we'll stay there. Meanwhile, our destiny, right, or our purpose is yelling at us saying, move, there's more for you. There's more for us, but we limit ourselves based on the opinions of others or where the person or people have seen us at one time. Do not count me out to be more or to have more than I did at one time before. Who I was 2 years ago is not who I am today. I've grown from there. I've learned from there. I've been mentored at that point from then till now. So there has to be some growth. So we have to stop downing our expectations based on what somebody else said. You could give me a position and call me the secretary all you want to. If I'm running the show, it's more than me being a secretary. But people will leave you there because that's what you're known for. Well, do we grow? Right? You know, is there more for us? Is there more that can come from us? We would rather stay in a place. We would rather be stagnant. We would rather be comfortable or be around the familiar just because. I want to encourage everybody today, just as I encouraged her. Your skill set matters. The knowledge that you have matters. The knowledge and skill set that you have received over the years that you've been at this specific job has changed. They have increased. And so that's what you need to portray. Because if you go in to another position or interviewing for another position, still talking the way you did 2 years ago, they're not going to want you because they need specific skills at this point. And if you possess them, they need to know. Because if not, then they'll leave you where you were. And that is not the desire I have for me. There was a comment that was made to me, and it was, you can't expect to go from here to there. Yes, I was offended by the statement. I had to, of course, anybody who knows me knows that I can be in a full conversation right now, but later on, I'm going to think about everything that transpired in that conversation. I'm going to think about all that was said, and then I'm going to analyze it and see what can I, or what I need to, or how I need to respond back if there's going to be a response at all. And when that was said to me, yes, I did respond, but I didn't respond specifically on that. I responded in a general statement as, yeah, I understand what you mean, but what I will not allow you to do is to dictate comfortability for me or to feel as if I'm not qualified for more. This is the catchy thing about the statement that was made. You can't expect to go from this level to this level. What was funny to me and made me feel some way in a moment, when I analyzed it, it made me feel good. Let me tell you why. The statement about I can't expect to go from one level to the next level offended me because why not? Who's limiting me to where you think I am or where you feel like I deserve to be? So that's why I was offended by it. But after I analyzed it, then I had to start thinking, you allowed me to step into the position that you say that I shouldn't be in. But what got so good to me was, even though you're telling me that I can't expect to go from this level to this level, what gave me great joy in the contradiction of the statement was because I've worked in that level because you asked me to. So if you thought that I had the skills to do it then or to operate in that position, why would I not try to operate in that position where you're not there? Why would I not try to move up to another level? You've allowed me to gain skill. It's funny how sometimes people will push you to a place and then try to pull you down once you realize that that's where you're supposed to be. Which is why it's important for us to know our worth. That's why it's important to understand what growth really is. Because when we're looking in the mirror, we're not just looking in the mirror to, get on ourselves just for self-reflection and just for accountability. But it's also an opportunity to tell yourself, girl, you done grown from last year to this year. Your mental is in a better place from last year to this year. You've gained great knowledge from last year to this year. I'm proud of you. And so the mirror for me is not just for accountability, but it's also for celebration. And it's also to realize how far you've come. And then once you realize that, not allowing anyone or anything to deter you from where you know you belong, right? That's like telling me, no, you got to stay at seat A because I said so. But I'm qualified for seat C. And because I have favor on my life, even where you think I can't get it, God will prove himself and say, yes, she can. Yes, she can. There's a song I don't know who sings it, but it talks about proving the doubters wrong. Now, I don't have to prove myself, because one thing that you did when you allowed me to act in this position that you think that I can't get to was that you gave me the qualifications to get there. There will be people that will help you on that pedestal. There will be people that say that they believe in you, and the moment that you break free from their hands, it's an issue for them. No, you helped me get to this next level because you gave me opportunity to get there. But to think that I can't get there is crazy. It's crazy. Never allow people's opinions of you to manifest as your perspective. Never allow where people place you be the eternal place for you. Stay focused, but it's coming. Yes, Dad. We allow people too much power over us. When you start to dictate to me where you think I deserve to be, that means that I've given you some power that you do not deserve. And now I have to reevaluate and take that power back. I was also talking to this person about that too. We give people way too much power over us, thinking that we have to stay in something that we know that we've outgrown. Or stay in this title that I know that I can do better, or I can be better, or I can exceed at the next level. So we have to be careful with allowing people to speak over us in a negative way, or in a way that belittles us, or in a way that takes away all that I've worked for. This young lady has worked extremely hard in her position. And technically, the title that she currently has is not really the title that she should have anyway. So trying to get me to stay there is diabolical. Like, don't do that. Right? But how can I back up? How can I back up not allowing people to dictate to me where they feel that I have to go? Being confident in myself. Right? Taking a moment to look at where I was a year ago versus where I am. That is a big step, and it's a necessary step that we have to do for ourselves. It's not about who sees where you are. It's about how confident you are where you are. Right? We're not looking for celebration. I'm not looking for anybody to give me kudos for where I am, because my paycheck is going to be my kudos. But I refuse to allow people to dictate to me where they think that I belong. I am going to ensure that everything that I've done, you can see. So when it's time for you to place me somewhere else, or when it's time for someone to see what's on my resume, or when it's time for someone to ask me, why should I give you this grant, or why should I give you this stage, or why should I give you this platform? It's because my resume will follow me, which means no matter where I stand, I got to make sure that I tell you everything that I'm capable of doing, to ensure you're making the right decision when it comes to putting me in a different position. Right? I felt like in that moment, do you want me to beg for something? Because that I will never do. right? My skills, my work ethics, my integrity, all that I've known, all that I've learned speaks well for me. I don't have to fight. I don't got to be mad. I don't got to go on a tangent. I don't have to, because what I've done, my work, how I've done it speaks for me. But the thing about it is, we want to get, our work speaks for us, but how do other people, right, outside of my comfortable place or outside of my position now, how do they know that I've taken time out to do all this extra stuff? Because I'm going to list it, or I'm going to tell you. By the time that we got off the phone, she was like, Jeauninè, I love you so much. Thank you so much. I need to update my resume. Yes, ma'am, you do. Why you limit yourself and not putting all that you are capable of doing on your resume? That means I'm limiting myself. Instead of me getting a promotion, now I feel like I'm only okay to get a lateral job. The devil is a liar and a deceiver too. If I've worked in another title, and now I have the opportunity to get that title, I'm going to go for that. Why would I stay in what you feel that is enough for me? Hi, Bishop. Let your work speak for me. I was talking the beginning of this live, Bishop. I was saying how, well, you are an awesome speaker, preacher, man of God. I always tell people my brother's just a nice guy. He's just a nice guy. But anointed, oil. And I was saying that yesterday was such confirmation. Your message was such confirmation. And I've told people to go back and watch it, about God qualifies who he's called. And I think that people need to understand that that's not just spiritual, right? It's not just spiritual. It also works in the natural. And because he has called me in the spiritual, you got to believe that for Jeauninè Simone, I'm going to walk very boldly wherever I am, because I'm not just confident in my skill work. I'm not just confident in what I know. I'm not just confident in how I can operate and how I can do my job, but I'm also confident that God is never going to leave my side. I made a comment to somebody and said, God never fails. And they said in response to me, yeah, God never failed me yet. I said, we need to stop putting the yet to that. Take the yet off. Why are you saying that, Jeauninè? I'm saying taking the yet off because when we put yet to who he is as if we are expecting for him to fail. And what he can never do is fail. Because he called, absolutely. He called me. I made a ran for some times, not been in position, right? And I always say nobody is perfect, but I got in position, not perfectly, but I did what I needed to do. And because of that, he's granted me favor, and nothing or no one can change the favor that's on my life. Whether that's the spiritual, whether that's the natural, whether that's relationships or friendship, I don't care what it is. Nobody can change that. Nobody. And if it's changing, that means that you gave your destiny, you gave your life, and you put it in somebody else's hands, and it's in the wrong hands. True. Say that. Hi, y'all. Whoever else is watching, y'all can talk to me tonight. Tell me if I'm making sense. Ask your question. But we have to be confident in who we are. Right? Confident in who we are. Confident in the God that we serve. Confident in the knowledge that we have. Confident in the skills that we have. And then we have to stop limiting ourselves. I would never be on a job and my next job is going to be a lateral. Why am I doing that? Does that mean that I haven't learned anything? Or does that mean that I'm fearful of the next level? Whew. And all that the next level comes with, that extra responsibility that comes with it. That's why your skill set, right, should not be beneath your position. Yes, I believe there are a lot of people that sit in positions that they're not qualified for, but you got to have something, whether it's those qualifications, maybe not all of the qualifications for that job, or a relationship with God. Because we want to be qualified for stuff, and God is looking at us like, there has to be work behind it. It has to be some substance behind it. We don't get these positions just because we want to. Well, sometimes. We shouldn't get positions just because we want them. We should get those positions because we know what to do with the position. I know how to act and respond in the position. I'm not saying that we don't learn, right, more and more, because we absolutely do. But we have to get to a place where we are very confident in who we are and what we've learned over the years at any job. And then when you're there and you decide to move, or it may be an opportunity that this conversation that we have now may be an eye opener for somebody to say to them, stop, limit yourself to where you are right now. Get up. You can't complain about things not going your way. You can't complain about the job that you're on if you're not doing something to leave there. You complain about you every day. You complaining about that job. My question is, what have you done to change that? And if you haven't, then you're not that hard off. You're not that bad off. It ain't that bad because you're still there. And somebody can say, well, it may not be that easy. Why? I've been saying this all weekend, and I'm going to say it today too. And I actually looked up, let me do this. I actually looked up this word today because, I don't know, for some reason, I hear some of the conversations, whether it be now on this live or people just talking period about, well, I have this to do. And well, this is the situation right now. Well, this may be different. Well, and let me read to you what I looked at today, because I've been thinking about it all day. I looked up the definition of excuses. Yep. And those who want, if y'all would share the line for me and tell somebody that they need to jump on, because we got some nuggets here that may eliminate some stress. So I looked up the word excuses, and it gave me 3 different definitions. The verb for excuses is attempt to lessen the blame attaching to, in parentheses, it says a fault or offense, close parentheses, and then it says seek to defend or justify. The second definition says release someone, in parentheses, from a duty or requirement. That's not the one I'm talking about. Then the third one says, as a noun, excuses is a reason or explanation put forward to defend or justify a fault or offense. Then they have another noun definition that says a poor or inadequate example of. I like the poor and inadequate example of. We don't understand how often we use excuses for where we are. We use excuses for everything. I'm here because of. This happened because of. I can't do this because of. This didn't work out the way I needed to because of. We have more excuses going on than we have people declaring things over their life. There's people declaring more excuses than being prosperous. There are people declaring more excuses than blessings. There are people that will sit and give you excuses for everything, but not take a moment to figure out what they need to do about where they are. Like, who are you blaming for the seat that you're sitting in? Whose fault is it that you are where you are now at a job that you may not like? You've tried it. It didn't work. Move on. You feel like the job is stressing you out to where you're not feeling good, or there's situations going on that you get anxiety every time you go to the computer, or you start having heart palpitations because of that. What are you doing to change that? Are you just going to sit there? Are you just going to sit there in it, or are you going to get up and do something? Because if the response is, well, I'm going to do it. Well, I got this situation and, it's really hard for me. And, I got this time. I don't have a whole lot of time. And, this is the case. At the end of the day, that's all excuses. Because we do what we want to do when we want to do it. It's just certain things. We sit in a seat of comfortability and we choose not to move. Hello? Ma, that's you? Who's that? We sit there. And I'm getting to a point where we have to do better in what we speak. We talk and not really understand that as we're speaking these things into the atmosphere. And if you are content where you are and you're talking about, this job is cool, I'm just going to sit here for a little while. I know my money is guaranteed and, it's cool. I don't have a lot of responsibility and I don't have a lot going on, so I'm going to stay here. You're limiting yourself. And you're limiting yourself because what? Moral of the story today. Stop limiting yourself. Stop feeling like this is all that you can have, and whether it be in this moment or whether it be later on. You can have whatever you want, but there's work that comes with that. There's knowledge that comes with that. There's movement that comes with that. There's sacrifice that may come with that. But never allow anybody to put you where you don't belong. Never allow anyone to say, well, this is good enough for you. I've worked a long time to be where I am. And not giving everything or not letting you know all of my qualifications is going to hinder me. Because that one thing that I may leave off my resume be the one thing that will take me above all of the other candidates. And at the end of the day, if it's not for you, it's not for you. We get so flustered when things don't work out the way it's supposed to, or not the way it's supposed to, because if it was supposed to work out like that, it would, or the way we want it to be. The one thing that I love about waking up every morning is that I have the opportunity to try all over again. I have the ability to make great effort the very next day. I have the ability to wake up and say, you know what? Yesterday I was at A. I'm going to ensure that I'm at point B. And then when I get to point B, I'm not going to stay there, and I'm not going to allow anybody else to keep me there or hold me there. I'm going to grow whether you want me to or not. Yes. So let's start cutting out the excuses, because excuses hold us back. And sometimes those excuses are lies. We don't like that lying. We don't want to do that lying. Sometimes those excuses are lies. And then sometimes those excuses because we don't want to do better. And sometimes those excuses is because we want to just be lazy. Don't complain about where you are if you're not doing anything to change that situation. Do not complain about where you land when you're not doing all that you need to ensure the landing for yourself. You will never limit Jeauninè to where you think I should be, or where I should be, or when I should be there. Because if we allow the opinions of others to dictate to us, they will have you broke, busted, and disgusted, definitely underneath them, looking for help. And I will never get to that place, because I understand that anything I want, I have the ability to go get. I can't just talk about what I want. I actually have to move, right? What does that mean? Actively searching. People talk about, yeah, I want a new job. I want to change, careers. I want to move from this job, but you ain't look at a job posting yet. Stop. I need to do something better. I need more money. I need a flexible schedule, but you've done nothing, right? Or you do something when you real mad about a situation, and then when everything is good, then you get back comfortable in that place again. Who are you blaming for the place that you're in? Who are you blaming for the people saying that you're not qualified? Did you put everything that you needed to put on your resume so that they know that you're qualified? Are you really qualified for the position that you're going for? Because some people have hopes, aspirations, and dreams to be the president of the United States, but they know nothing about politics. Make it make sense. So, my encouragement for everybody today is do not limit yourself, number one. Do not limit yourself to where someone has placed you. If you're going for a new job or you want a new job, there has to be some type of movement in order for it to get. Can God drop a job in your lap? Absolutely, he can. And I know that to be a fact because I've lived in that favor before. But it was stuff that I had to do in order to obtain the favor. People just want favor and you ain't did nothing. No, there's a price that comes with that. There's a price that comes with that. There's something that I got to do in order to get to where I want to go. There's something that I have to do to ensure that the money that I choose, the money that I desire is accurate with where I am. You can't want a $100,000 job and you don't want to go to work on a regular basis, or you don't want to go to work on time, or you always calling out, or when it's time to give a presentation or to do your job, you don't know what you're doing. You don't deserve. Let's be everything I talk about is always us being mindful of who we are, right? Who we are in this moment, not who we desire to be. That's our future. That's what we're looking for, right? Who we desire to be. And everybody should have a plan of where you want to be in the next 2 to 5 years. Because if you don't have a plan written down, then you just being who you are. And most times we become very stagnant in that place because we don't have a plan to our next movement or a roadmap to where we want to be. We have to do better. Be confident in who you are. Be confident in the skills and the knowledge that you have. And never allow anybody to downplay the hard work that you've done over the years, not only to be the person that you are, but to deserve any position you choose to go for. Yep. Make sure you are confident in what you have to offer. And if you're not confident in what you have to offer, let this live be an indication that you need to get on the ball with doing something. Talk is cheap. It takes money to buy land. My father always used to say that, and my mother always used to say that. Talk is cheap. We could talk all day, every day until we are blue in the face. But you got to get up from where you are in order to get something more. You got to get up from where you are and not be complacent and not be comfortable in where you are to do better. If you're comfortable doing the same thing over and over again and you choose not to grow, then that's on you, more to you. But for those of you that want more, there got to be something that you do to get it. You can't complain that you want to go outside or complain that you want more money and you're not doing anything to get to that place. So I just wanted to come on today. I got a whole bunch of other stuff that I want to talk about, but I wanted to talk about that because that was a conversation that I had today. And I wanted to encourage someone else to be confident in you being qualified. Right now, he qualifies whom he calls. And sometimes when he calls, he's not saying to move in that moment. Sometimes he's saying to you that I am calling you, or I have called you. However, there's some growth that I need. There's some more character that needs to be refined or defined. There's so much more learning that you may have to do, right? It may not be in this moment, but you need to make sure that you're actively seeking everything that comes with that. So I know if I'm going for a director's position, I need to make sure that my qualifications meet up with that. Now, one thing I will say is that there's a whole lot of jobs that will say a degree, but we have to pay attention to the in-between part of that, right? One of the young ladies that I was talking to was saying, well, I don't have a bachelor's degree. And I understand that, right? And there are some jobs that their requirement or their required degrees or education may be a bachelor's degree, maybe a master's degree, sometimes even associate's degree. But this is my thing. We have to pay attention to the wording. And I'll talk about that at another time. But we have to pay attention to the wording, because my thing to her was, did you read what the position said? It said preferred qualifications or required qualifications, bachelor's degree or equivalent experience. That means that that degree is very good, that we want that. However, if you have the equivalent experience, then the degree, you qualify. Meaning I may not have gone to college, and I may not have that 4 years under my belt, and I may not have that degree on my wall, but because I've worked in this field for 10 years, because I've been under certain people, because I've grown, because I've been promoted, now I might not have that piece of paper yet, but the skill set that I have, that knowledge that I have, that character that I've refined over the years, that gives me a seat at the table, because it put "or" on there. We limit ourselves just to the bachelor's degree, and we forget to continue reading, and we forget those key words. The key word in that sentence was "or." So my point to her was, you have to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to get what you need. If that means continue reading the sentence, that's what that means. If that means identifying that there's a key word in that sentence that grants me access to that job. When you said all equivalent experience, I said to her, that gives you access to sit at the table. That gives you access to get the job because you have the experience. So sometimes people may say, well, you don't have this and you have this, but I have this. Right? I may not have that bachelor's degree, but I have Jesus. I have that favor over my life. And he's going to make sure that when I get to the table to have the conversation about those skills and those qualities that I possess, it's going to come forth very clear, because I'm already confident in who I am and what I can offer. All right, y'all. That's my time. I'm running this live all by myself because Nate is not here. And he's giving me direction on what I need to do and how I need to do it. So right now, I think I'm supposed to be playing like outro video, outro music or something. Oh, no, Nate. Anyway, I just wanted to encourage you all tonight. A few things. Do not limit yourself to where you are currently standing. There is more in you and there is more for you. 2, never allow anybody's opinions of you or where they may have placed you to keep you where you are. There's more for you and there's more in you. Don't allow your circumstances to dictate to you that you may have to stay where you are because of fear or because of what someone has said. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. That sound mind means I am very confident in the God that I serve, and I'm very confident in the wisdom and knowledge that I have. And what I will never do is stay in a seat that I have outgrown. I love all of y'all tonight, and I pray that all of you have gotten something out of this live and that you can share with your family and friends. I am here to encourage, to give perspective, tools, and resources for us to be better and to do better and to get to where we want to be and not where people place us. Get up from the seat of where you are. Do not allow excuses to hinder your movement. Do not let excuses hinder your progress in life, because they will. And for me, when he got up on the cross and they nailed his hands and foot to the cross, excuses was nailed there too. I love y'all all tonight. I love y'all so much. It's not how you love me that affects my life, but it's how I love you that affects my life. I will see you guys back here on Monday night. Same place, same time. I love you all. Y'all have a great evening. Bye.